Welcome to this week's edition of Red and Black Sport. Well, fascinating weekend. It's a great weekend for me, I've got to tell you, because I am a true Masters absorber, to be honest. I don't think I missed a shot. It takes a lot of your weekend, I've got to tell you, to follow it, but I just think it's fabulous. To me, it is the best of the majors. I don't know, it'll be interesting. I'll ask my guests a little later on as to which one would they like to win themselves. But I just think that green jacket is so special, and the way they do it. Now, you love it or hate it. I mean, it's a time warp. The boiler suits are absolute crap. But I've been a member of the Valley of Peace Cricket here, and for years and years it was male only. And people used to complain, well, don't go if you don't like it. I mean, that's fine. I just think that's the tradition of Augusta, and they're going to stick with it. They ain't going to change. They don't need to. It's a sellout every year, and they attract the top field in the world. So what have they done wrong? Not a lot. But anyway, I love it. But we've got to pay a little bit of credit, don't we, to the Crusaders. A very, very good effort for them to win 2 from 2 over in the Republic. No one's done that this year, and to be fair, when they left our shores, they didn't look like they'd be able to either. Wasn't perfect. You'd think a big win by 52, but they gave up 3 tries in the space of 6 minutes defensively. They just looked a little lax, but they'll come home, job done. They've probably bonded pretty well. They've got a big appointment on Saturday when they take on the Chiefs, who, to be fair, seem to have a little bit of the wobbles as well. And there's really not one side that you could say is dominating in Super 15. Some would say that's good, but I just wonder about the quality of the game. Are they out-videoed? Are they out-thought? Are they out-checked now? So they paint by numbers rather than have the flair to be able to do something. However, that's something for you to ponder. Hard luck to 2 of the ball sports, I've got to say. To the Rams. They went up and played the Giants yesterday in Nelson, lost by 1. That'll really rip your nightie, wouldn't it? Because they're not a fancy team, the Rams. We had them in here last week. They're very, very keen and want to do the best they can. The Giants was one. If they could have lowered their sails there, it would have been great. And the tactics, well, they did everything against the Northern Mystics except win the game. So, frustration in the ball sports. But back to Augusta. Got 2 guys in. One has been, one actually knows some of the fellas that are still about, I think, at Augusta. Let's welcome 2 golf pros. We start over here with the veteran, if you like, Geoff Clarke. You'll know him, of course, from the bowls commentary when we do the Burnside Pairs, because he's now a mad bowler. And John Williamson, who has been to Augusta and, of course, has been a PGA player. So we know what we're doing. Take us firstly, guys, to Augusta. What you see on the television, John, probably doesn't make the course look as difficult as it actually is.
No, I was talking to Geoff about that before. The TV has a difficulty showing contours, but I think they actually are getting that a lot better. It was quite noticeable this time. You saw a lot of the balls rolling off the greens, and you saw them rolling to some amazing places. So it has got a lot of contours. Yeah.
I think you watch the walk up to the 18th green, you realise now just how steep it is, but the whole course is like that, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. Which makes it a great viewing golf course.
Now, when did you go?
98.
98. Why did you go?
I went with my mother and father and my wife Sally, and it was something that I think Dad had always wanted to do.
Where were you in the golfing world at that stage yourself?
An amateur.
Yeah, a pretty useful amateur. Yeah. Playing off what?
Probably about +2 or something at the time.
Yeah, not bad. Okay. So that was the big adventure to go. Now, you had we'll get into it right now, because you had a fascinating story with your dad.
We did, because Dad was fortunate enough to be involved when Arnold Palmer played golf at the Christchurch Golf Club. And when we arrived at the tournament the first day...
Why did Arnold Palmer play at the Christchurch Golf Club? A big...
Bob Charles invited him, I think. It was
Did he really?
A charity thing.
Yeah.
So the first day, normally most people go and watch the par 3 tournament, and I said, Dad, should we go to watch the tournament? He goes, no, we're going to go and watch Arnold and Jack have a practice round. So we duly followed them around, and they played with Andrew McGee and Billy Andre. So it was 2 older guys versus the 2 young guys, and they were having a lot of fun. And I just knew that Dad was up to something. And about the 3rd or 4th hole, we were walking along the fairway, and Arnold sort of got close to us, and Dad was over the ropes. Shook Arnold's hand, said, Arnold Palmer, David Williamson from the Christchurch Golf Club. And Arnold was fantastic with Dad. He said, hello, David, lovely to see you.
Did he remember him?
Who would know? I doubt it. But certainly made my father's trip.
Yeah. But it developed on from there, didn't it? That they actually spent a bit of time together.
Yeah, they did. They mentioned about the time they'd had in the smoke room at Shirley. I don't know whether Arnold remembered Dad or not, but it was quite a lovely moment for Dad.
I don't know whether have you guys seen that 3-part series on Arnold that's just been played? His wife makes a lovely comment. He never ever said no to anybody. Just one of those guys, wasn't he? They weren't all like that, the good pros, I've got to say, but he was one. You've got a story, Geoff Clarke, regards Faldo.
Yes, and I played 1976 playing for New Zealand, South Africa, and Stuart Jones and I played foursomes in the morning against two young fellows from England, and one was 17, one was 19, and I remember Stuart Jones played particularly well. Twice he hit one iron shots and twice I had gimme putts, so that'll give you an idea of how he went. But we beat them quite comfortably, and then I had a win in the afternoon against one of them, and Stuart actually lost playing very well in the afternoon to the other. The one that Stuart played was Sandy Lyle, the one I played was Nick Faldo, and 2000 in the World Cup was at Gulf Harbour. We were walking around following along. The second hole, Nick Faldo was standing at the top of the hill waiting to hit a second to a par 5. And then he wandered over to me and he said, "I've played against you, haven't I?" He didn't ask who had won and who had lost, but he said, "I've played." I thought that was pretty fantastic.
And we're talking what period of time? How long?
24 years.
24 years
Yeah.
ago. So they do remember.
So, he was just making polite chat sort of around there, and then sort of, obviously, there wasn't too many standing there.
And the other guy you mentioned, Sandy Lyle, made the cut in this year's tournament
He did,
and played pretty jolly well.
Some of those older fellas this year did very well.
They
He
did,
was one of them.
yeah.
So.
On that subject, John, the demise, if you like, or the injury to Tiger and the demise, say, of Mickelson, did it detract to you from the tournament, the name badge players not there?
For me, I think when Tiger's not playing in a tournament, it does take something away from
Yeah.
him, because I think he's a player that has the ability to do special things. Sometimes not always good, like last year when he took the drop and it was very controversial. But he definitely adds colour to the tournament for someone like myself.
Did Jordan Spieth make it up to you at all? Having such a young talent of 20 years of age is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah,
to make a final?
I think he's going to be the next Tiger Woods, personally. I think, and I've said that for about the last 6 to 9 months. He's got a great temperament for someone that age. He's got all the shots. He's got the power, and I think today, 2 holes, that was the tournament, really. He could just as easily have won that tournament, but in saying that, Watson played fantastically.
Yeah, and interesting, they stacked up who he had played previously, the greats, and what he'd beaten them by. I mean, they were massive marks, 5 shots, 7 shots, 9 shots, The boy can swing a club.
He certainly can play.
Wondered a little bit about his temperament today. When he got rattled, he really showed it, didn't he? Is that you?
Yeah, and I think he probably just a little bit lacking in experience, but in saying that, he still held it together pretty well at the end with what had happened. I mean, he looks a fantastic prospect, that's for sure.
How does Bubba Watson keep his emotions under control? He is so emotional, isn't he?
He certainly does it on the golf course. It's he's off the golf course. He obviously it all builds up and he releases it there. But no, I thought that he deserved to win.
Yes.
And he did. He held his emotions together very well and played extremely aggressively.
I was going to say, not cautious really at all, was he? Didn't sit on the lead.
No, he was, you think 9 irons into par 5s, I suppose you might as well, mightn't you? So he can...
Just before you go, does it blow you away how far they hit it, mate?
They hit it a long way.
All of them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Can't be all gear, can it? Yeah. It can't be all the gear.
To give you an idea, Tony Christie told me when he played with Bubba Watson at Clearwater, on the second hole, most people know the second hole at Clearwater, he actually hit it over the water there.
Right, we'll come back. We're talking golf, we're talking, of course, the Masters, and I think it's a wonderful tournament. And I'll ask these boys which tournament which of the majors they'd sooner win. Back in a moment. Welcome back. We're talking about the Masters. I've put my stake in the ground and said I think that, to me, is the major that you want to win. John Williamson, you have a chance. Which one would you want to pick up?
I'd take any of them.
But prioritise them.
Well, I think probably there's a huge amount of tradition in the Open Championship, because it's been going for so long. A lot of people are wee bit sort of, the Masters has that sort of elitist thing to it because it's purely by invitational. Yeah, I think I'd take any of them.
Yeah. Jeffrey?
I think the same. I think in my phone photo, I'm actually holding the claret jug, the real one.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Masters obviously...
There's obviously a story. How the hell did you get your hands on the claret?
I won the Mercedes tournament, went to Germany,
yes.
and they sponsored the Straightest Drive, the R&A, and the winner of the Straightest Drive was a free trip to the British Open, and which I certainly didn't win, but the president of the R&A came over and Ernie had the claret jug and he brought it with him. So... yeah, so it was that was the real article. But
that's Mr. Els.
That's Mr. Els, yeah.
How good a bloke's he?
So yes, he's another very laid-back character, isn't he?
I see Mercedes actually on a lot of the players' gear now, isn't it? They've obviously stepped up.
A lot of them are
sponsorship.
like Bernhard Langer and Adam Scott and Louis Oosthuizen. They are Mercedes-Benz ambassadors, so
yeah.
they have to go to the tournaments when they're played there, but I'm sure they get a free motor car and
Well, I'm sure they
quite a
will
few
look
other
after,
things as well.
yeah.
So they're probably not too upset about it.
Right.
But,
All right, so
yeah.
we've worked that out, that the boys had just settled for any of the golf. When you went over, tell us a little bit about, the crowds are huge. How did you know where to position yourself to get the best view?
As I said with the undulations, Pete, it is quite a good place to watch golf from. On the start of the tournament, the day, I would go to the back of the sixth green, which gives you can see the shots coming into the second, the par 5, and then I would whip across just gently down the slope and watch them tee off 7. So I was like from here to the cameraman away from watching them. And then the second part, I would go behind the back of 16, and you could watch them come in 15, watch them play 16, and I'd do the same, and I'd go over to 17 and watch them tee off from very close distance.
I'm trying to think of my memory. What was the weather like when you were there over the 4 days?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I can't actually try. I'm trying to remember a rough Masters. I don't know whether they've had one.
I think they've had, in recent years, I think they've had a couple of days that haven't been too good, but I think generally that's very good.
Yeah, but they went on and on in the commentary today, didn't they, about the ice storm? Because the Eisenhower tree's
Trees gone, and a few others too,
Must have been
I
some
think.
hell of a storm, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had, well, I guess it must have been part of that sort of winter storm that went through the middle of the state. So.
Yeah. You just don't think of it,
Yeah,
do you? You
you don't.
wouldn't think of an ice storm in Augusta, but there we are. So I heard a story that way back about year 2000, 2001, the shop at Augusta took something in excess of $12 million US over the 4 or 5 days. I mean, well, obviously you've got the jersey.
Got the
You didn't win it, you bought it, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a stunning symbol, isn't it, on its own? But was that chocker all the time?
Yes, people there all the time.
Yeah.
The people at Augusta are quite magnificent way they treat other people. When Sally and I were behind the back of the 6th, there's a lot of seats that are there and they're just empty seats. People don't go and so it's actually, people know that it's for reserved. And when Mum and Dad walked up to us one stage, this couple heard us talking and they looked round and knew that we obviously weren't from America, and they gave up their seats to Mum and Dad, right beside the green, and they said,
Really?
"Look, Mr. Williamson, you sit there for an hour or so and we'll just go for a bit of a wander," and it was just fabulous.
Terrific, isn't it?
It was lovely.
Yeah,
People were
yeah.
really...
Was the gear expensive?
No.
No. So they're just there, they sell the merchandise and yeah, you got
everything's green, like all
Yeah.
the divots, the sand's green, all your sandwiches that you buy, they're all in green packets. Not allowed to run around the golf course. I got growled at twice for running.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, a young John Williamson, you see, 1998. Yeah. These toddlers are difficult, I tell you, when you get to the course. Jeff, was there anyone that disappointed you in this year's Masters?
I think that probably Rory was a bit, I'm not going to say disappointed, but I think he was very, very unlucky. And if you watched it all,
I did.
You saw that shot he hit into the par 5, which landed on the sprinkler.
Correct.
I think that probably at a time where he was trying to sort of get right up there with the leaders, he had a few little breaks that saw him go the other way, and he came back fantastically today.
Yes.
I think Phil would be very disappointed. He seems to be...
Just on Rory, he seemed more mentally disciplined at this outing than I've seen him in recent times.
Maybe it's the fiancée, I don't
May
know.
well be, because I see she was at the par 3.
Yeah, she was.
She sang a putt too.
Yeah.
How does the caddy get to have a putt?
So even these little guys,
so the kids
they
have
have
a go,
a putt
don't
too.
they?
So, but no, I think that he seems to have come out of that bad year, and he looks like he's going to be competitive again. That's for sure. But I think Phil must be. He doesn't seem to be able to play around now without a couple of doubles. That's the problem.
Yes.
He still makes the birdies, but he just. And I think 2 or 3 things this tournament. I think the 2 young fellas, Blixt as well, fantastic effort. And I mean, you look, the 2 older guys, like Jimenez and Bernhard Langer and Freddie. Yeah. So it's been a sort of a tournament of contrast, really.
Right. And you've got Matty Kuchar still just going around, haven't you? I mean, he's lurking all the time. He's got to knock one, surely, at some stage.
Well, he was the amateur. He was when we were there at 98.
Oh, was he?
And his father caddied from him.
Oh, right.
So it was quite special.
He's never lost the smile, but I think he wants a bit more out of his game, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems to get, like the previous week, so it looked as though he had it all won.
Correct.
And then got away, and he was getting right in contention again there today, wasn't he? So
amazing. A lovely guy. I think he's a lovely guy to watch, actually. But the Europeans, why from the top of Sweden would you be a good golfer, for God's sake? I mean, it'd be dark.
I don't think they spend too much time in Sweden. I think he's probably at American University. And
well, I laughed. I heard him talk to his caddy at one stage, Blick, and I thought, Didn't sound very Swedish to me.
Yeah, no,
It sounds very
I'm
American.
sure that's true too.
But they've still got to somehow break into a
And
university,
he's
don't they?
got quite an unusual swing. It's very short,
Short, yeah.
compact, and it's not sort of the flowing swing that you expect from the younger guys.
Doesn't take a lot out of himself,
No,
does he?
played beautifully, though.
Furyk could still have the weirdest, wouldn't he? Of currently going around.
I think Furyk, when you see him, I went to a seminar run by Chuck Cook, who used to be Tiger's caddy, and he analysed a lot of those swings. Furyk at impact is pretty much perfect. It's just how he gets there.
Correct.
You know,
So was Arnie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Arnie was
it's,
an ugly swinger.
You know, it's when you break it down and have a look at where he is right at impact, he's pretty good.
How big a role does a caddy play? I noticed that there was one little incident that I picked up today where there was quite a discussion and argument after the shot, and that was from Jordan Spieth to his caddy. He wanted to pull one club and he was talked out of it. Turned out it was a bad. He might have hit it badly, but
I think Stephen Williams would tell him they're the most important person on the golf course.
Yeah, well, he would. Yeah.
Yeah, they're obviously very important. I sort of would sometimes wished when I was playing well in tournaments that I did have a really good professional caddy, because it's quite noticeable how they slow the players down, always give them a positive comment before
so
they play
positive,
their
aren't
shot. I think a good caddy was.
All right. When we come back, well, our esteemed young up-and-coming sports reporter decided that he'd go out and get a couple of tips out at Ferrymead Golf. So we'll have a look at that and then come back and talk to the two gentlemen we've got here in the studio. Back in a moment. Our roving reporter Gordon Finlater decided he got carried away with the Masters. He'd go out and pick up a tip from Ferrymead Golf.
I'm Matt here at Ferrymead Golf. Each week I'm going to be getting some tips on how I can improve my golf game. So if you're watching out there and you want to improve, keep watching. Andy, you've seen me hitting a couple of balls. Yep. What can I do to improve my driving?
Well, to be honest, what we see is probably about what 80% of people who come visit the range here are tending to do, which is obviously slicing off to the right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so part of the reason for that is that your club face, okay, is coming through in an open position, so pointing out to the right.
Right.
Okay, so you're not actually getting that club turning through the hitting area to face your target.
Now, normally to compensate for that, I just position myself about 30 degrees to the left and hope that I manage to sort of slice it onto the fairway somehow.
Well, unfortunately, that's only going to really make the matter worse in the long run. Okay, so a little tip for you to help you just to square that club face up a little bit. And it's a little bit, we call it the hockey grip.
Right.
Okay, so you have a split-handed grip, unlike your normal conventional grip, okay? And you're going to grip down and split the hands by about this much here.
Okay.
Now what you do, if you stand back a moment, I'll just demonstrate for you. Okay. So as you're swinging the club back and through, okay, with the split-handed grip, you should start to feel the right hand rotating past the left, and sort of a rolling of your right forearm through the hitting area, okay? It will feel very, very similar to a topspin four-handed tennis, okay? And you want to just get that feeling, the right hand releasing past the left there, okay? You can hit balls like that, you should start to try and feel the ball moving right to left when you hit it, okay? Then when you've done that a few times, put your hands in your conventional way and just try and recreate that feeling through the ball.
Okay.
Often enough, hopefully it will clear that slice a little bit.
Right, let's see if it can help me out and if I can get the ball a little bit straighter.
Okay.
All right, Andy, coming into winter, getting a bit cooler, what sort of stock have you got in the store for us at the moment?
That's right, Gordon. We've got a new range of ladies' wet weather gear from Callaway here. So it'll keep out a shower. It's mainly for the wind, so it keeps you nice and warm in those as the weather is beginning to change, what we're having at the moment. We also got a slightly thicker garment from Sporty Leisure for the ladies. So it was a little bit more waterproof. And again, for those really cold days, getting down under 10 degrees now, so
especially this Christchurch weather, you want to stay warm, don't you?
That's right, you do, unfortunately. And we've also got the new warranty jacket, so you get a 3-year waterproof warranty with this one. It goes for $209 for the jacket. Okay, and it's brand new in, and we'll have other new styles coming in as the winter gets closer.
All right, perfect. Plenty of stuff to keep you warm out there on the golf course, out at Ferrymead Golf.
He's very much work in progress, but we will be following his progress during the course of Red and Black Sport on a Monday. He's got some other tips that he's going to be given, and we'll see if Gordon actually improves his game. But never can't see him being a threat really on the circuit. But that's John. How far, viewers will be asking, and people have asked me, how far did you get with the game?
Well, I played amateur golf basically till I was 50,
Yeah.
and then I decided to have a go at playing professional golf.
Right.
So
On the senior tour?
On the senior tour.
Yeah.
So went over to America, and I think I was one of 5,000 people going for 6 spots. That was a learning experience, and then came back and went over to Australia and qualified in the Australasian. So I played for 6 or 7 years quite successfully on the Australasian.
Was Jim
Tour.
Lapsley playing then?
Jim came and joined about 3 years later, and
Right.
he went over to, he qualified in Europe.
Yes, because we've had him in here on the program,
Yeah.
and I just wondered if it was around about the same time.
And then Jim played the last couple of years in Australia, and New Zealand with me. Yeah.
Is that quite lucrative, the Australian tour, or not, at senior level?
Not really.
Not really, but it's a hell of a nice lifestyle.
Well, you know, for someone like myself to keep me playing competitive golf, it was enjoyable. But you know,
But
getting
how
up,
did you manage? I mean, you
getting
gotta-
up at 6 o'clock in the morning to play Woodward Cup is, you know, no longer much appeal. But and I still enjoy playing competitive golf. So
Jeff, where did it take you?
Well, I was pretty lucky. I managed to get. I played 99 games at #1 for Otago.
Yes.
Somebody said, "Why didn't you play the hundreds?" But I said, "Who will know in 6 months' time?" And I played 21 times for New Zealand. So I played for New Zealand every year from 1967 through to 1980.
And that was
except
around
for
the
one.
world, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had 21 times in 21 trips in that New Zealand team. So and then I turned pro in 1980,
Right. At
And-
what age were you then?
35.
Right.
So I went
you're on
to
the tour.
No, I went to Alexandra for 10 years
Yep.
as a club pro, and then I was at Russley for 17 years after that.
That's right. What does it take to become a teaching pro? How long?
Because of the way I turned pro, I just turned as an amateur. Went to Alexandra, and the PGA didn't really want to know me for about the first 2 or 3, 4 years.
John
And-
Williamson's laughing about
Yeah,
this.
no, well, after a while they decided I wasn't going to go away, and I went through the system, and it took, I think it's a 5-year, took 5 years. And, you know, I can, and it was good. I enjoyed it. Once I got into the system, it was very good. And I was, so by the time I sort of was halfway through at Alexandra, I was fully qualified.
Right.
Good thing about going to Alexandra is that they didn't care. I mean, there was 10 people applied for the job at Alexandra, and 9 were qualified pros, and I was an
You
amateur.
got the job.
And I said to them, listen, if I don't get the job, don't even tell anybody I ever applied, because it'd be a good way of losing your amateur status. But they were very good, and it was a very good place to learn. It was a very busy place. People said to me, why would you ever go to Alexandra?
Oh, yeah.
I had no opposition for about 250 miles, and I had 42 clubs in that area, and I used to spend about 155 days a year away coaching at other clubs, so it was a wonderful business. And the dam was being built, so
Yeah.
it was a...
And the climate's not too bad, is it?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, harsh in the
Central
winter, but
Otago,
yeah.
lots of very pleasant golf courses there. So.
Beautiful area now, of
Yeah,
course.
now, yeah.
You didn't think of being a teaching pro, John?
no. I just really wanted to just keep playing competitive golf, and that was my sole reason.
So you're still living a hit?
Occasionally,
Yeah. What's your handicap now?
I'm on 2 at the moment.
That's not bad.
Was scratched about 6 months ago, but it's
Slipping a bit.
been a bit of a slow summer.
Bowls have taken over a bit of your life.
Yeah, I enjoy my bowls. It's just another challenge really. It was a new challenge, and it's and you know I'm good enough to be a nuisance. I'm happy about that.
You're still swinging a club, though.
Yeah.
I see you got the
sort of.
Clearwater jersey on.
Yeah, no, sort of. I managed to win the club champs at Clearwater about 2 years ago, and had a couple of years of playing Woodward Cup. So what I did when I left Russley is I applied to get my amateur status back again.
Ah, right.
Had a 2-year stand down period, and that was good because all the golf I was playing was social, and it wasn't much point being a professional if you weren't playing any.
No.
So no, it's. The only thing is, we talked about before, the big problem I find nowadays, you still think you hit the ball all right, and these young fellas hit it about 50 yards further than you. So, but
Yeah.
it's...
But the head gets you around the course, I bet you.
Yeah, there's quite a few
You
of
can't
them.
beat that, John, can you? Right?
Yeah.
We saw a classic case of that today, didn't we? A young fluff, 20 years of age, probably more talented nearly as Bubba, but when it comes to the pressure and the knowledge, and Fowler keeps going back to knowledge, doesn't he? You've got to know your way around Augusta. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Really enjoyed it. Have a great Easter, guys, and we'll be back next week. We're going to talk about the front row problems with a couple of gnarly old veterans who know exactly how it works. So catch you on Easter Monday night and another Red and Black Sport. Till then, eat your eggs and enjoy it.